Hey everybody, welcome to the Radical Center. My name is Jonathan Langley and we are broadcasting as ever from the illustrious Radical Studios in beautiful sunny downtown Austin, Texas. And as you can tell by my heavy Texas accent, I'm an American and I am an independent. Now I'm joined today as ever by Dan, our long-suffering producer, who likes to make the lights work if you're watching us on video somewhere and the mics work if you're listening to us online. Thank you for listening. And today on this show, we'd like to focus on things that affect average Americans. That's where the name Radical Center comes from. We thought we'd look at something that's really got the Wall Street Journal right here upset. And that is entitlements. Yes, entitlements. You know, for all those freeloaders, food stamps, Social Security for old people, Medicare, Medicaid, all these things. It's just appalling. It's all socialism by any other name, and we just got to do something about it. Never mind the WSJ, Wall Street Journal. Well, those elites get first-class air travel. I know, because I know some of these people. Fantastic health care. That's private enterprise. God forbid that other people shouldn't have it. Just go work at the Wall Street Journal. They'll get it. So what's got them upset? All right. So what's got them upset is something called the Biden Family Plan. I believe that's what it's called. Biden's Family Plan. Thank you, Dan. Biden's Family Plan, which one of the key things it's going to include, and Dan's going to put it up, is a $3,600 tax credit per child, which is essentially $300 per month. There's some other things in here, but this is the big one that they're upset about. And God forbid that we give hardworking families $300 in a tax credit per child, so $3,600 per year. Now they have gone out and using here the Hoover Institute scholars. I love how they make the scholars. It sounds very. In case you're wondering who the Hoover Institute is. What would you call them, Dan? What? Yeah, okay. I don't know if you guys picked that up, but right-wing crazy people, I think, is a safe way to look at the Hoover Institute. Anyway, the Hoover Institute scholars, John Cogan and Daniel Heil. Cogan and Heil, yeah, I guess that's an old 80s, almost like a cop show or something. Anyway, Cogan and Heil have done some work about what the Biden family plan will actually cost. They go on to say, for example, according to the Wall Street Journal, using statistics from Cogan and Heil, it pretends that the child tax credit, which is supposed to end in 2025, so something for 4 years, is only going to cost $449 billion over 10 years. What? So it's they're doing it over 10, but it's going to finish in 5. Oh, because what they're saying is they're using 10 years as a way to analyze it. So in other words, it's going to cost basically a lot of money, $449 billion over the 10-year window, assuming it runs for 10 years. Now, what Wall Street Journal is very upset is Congress will never repeal it. Apparently, even if Trump wins, or maybe, God forbid, maybe he's reinstated in August. If Trump's reinstated in August, he won't get rid of it either. No, he's not going to get rid of it. Now, my favorite part of this whole thing is what these elites, I love saying that because they use it all the time, some of these people, the Wall Street Journal, and you can't get more elite than that, trust me, is what they reasons for doing this. Is Biden doing this to help families? No. Is he doing it because he's a good guy, soft in the head? Who knows? No. According to the Wall Street Journal, put it up, Dan, these programs, this is what they say, aren't intended as a safety net for the poor. They are explicitly designed to make the middle class dependent on government handouts. Oh, my God. Never mind. We already know this. The disproportionate wealth increase in the last few years has gone to the top 1%. Never mind that the average working American pays less in taxes, not because they got these great tax breaks from people like Trump, but because they earn less of the pie. We've done this before. So God forbid that we give these people $300 a month for their child. This is just awful. They also quote a book, apparently, that Mr. Cogan wrote in 2017, which they say superb from these Hoover Institute scholar. The High Cost of Good Intentions is a superb history of American entitlements. It's a harrowing reading for anyone who fears American decline. Oh, my God. So let me get this straight. We're supposed to be pro-life. But we don't want to take care of the kids once they're born. How does that work? We've already pointed out that America actually has the worst child mortality, infant mortality, and maternal mortality of any Western country. Any. And I challenge you, can write to me, we'll give you the email at the end, of any Western country. God forbid that we actually take care of these children once they're born. That would just be appalling. Now, I also go on to criticize George W. Bush and others for not actually reforming Medicare and Social Security like they said they were going to. They also say a GOP majority failed by a single vote to reform Obamacare in 2017. Failed. Well, remember, let's just go back. What happened in 2017? What was the Republican plan to replace Obamacare? Can we think for a second? That's right. Nothing. It wasn't reforming Obamacare. They were going to kill it and had no plan to replace it. Now, they also go on to say, this is the crux of the whole thing. Put it up, Dan. Thank you. The result is that on present trend, the United States is falling to the same entitlement trap as Western Europe, where entitlement spending requires higher taxes, which grab 40% or more of GDP. Now, those damn socialists, those French, oh my God, the Germans, I don't know about Spain. What about the British? How's that going? Our cousins across the pond. How's that going? All right. We know for a fact that child mortality, infant mortality in the United Kingdom is at least 35 to 45% less than the United States. Think about that. The child mortality, infant mortality that's less than 12 months and less than 5 years is 30 to 45% less than child mortality in the United States. That means, God, the people in the UK must be spending God knows how much money on entitlements and taxes as a percentage of GDP. Well, thank God we have facts here. All right, so put it up, Dan. Thank you so much. So in the United Kingdom, tax revenue as a percentage of GDP is 33.3%. Now, just to be clear, France, yes, it is 50%, but we're talking UK. Well, the reason I bring this one up is A, I know what I'm talking about, and B, the fact that the countries are very similar sort of outlook, believe it or not. So and then we want to look at results, right? We know, like I said, that life expectancy, child mortality, all that is much, much better in the UK. So 33.3% is the tax revenue as a percentage of GDP for the United Kingdom. So my golly, it has to be huge in the United. If it's 33% in the United Kingdom, it's got to be only 20% in the United States. As a percentage, tax revenue as a percentage of GDP, because we're such a low tax country. It's got to be just, put it up, Dan. Let's shock everybody. 27%. That's right, 27% of America's GDP as a percentage of GDP is tax revenue. So in other words, if I take 27% to 33, that's essentially an increase of 20%, right? In other words, 20 percentage points so 6 percentage points, which is, basically 20% higher. I know your intelligent people out there are following exactly what I'm saying. In other words, if you take 27 and add 10%, you get to 30, and add another 10%, you get to 33. So that's why I'm saying in the UK, the percentage of GDP for taxes is roughly 20% higher than the United States. You must be going, yes, but 20%, Langley, that's huge. Well, if it means babies aren't dying, if it means you're going to live another 3 years, if it means that mothers have a much better postnatal and prenatal care, I would have thought 20% is actually a reasonable number, right? And by the way, that doesn't mean that you and I would pay more taxes. It's a share overall. It might mean that some of this comes from the well-off, right? Now, here's another one. A government expenditure, that's taxes, but government expenditure as a percentage of GDP. Pick it up, Dan. So for the UK, government expenditure as a percentage of GDP in the UK is 41%. 41% of government expenditure as a percentage of GDP. And you've got to be going, well, again, see, the Wall Street Journal is so upset. We've got to be low 30s. We've got to be maybe 29% of our government because is spending money as a percentage of GDP because, by golly, we don't want to get like those socialist Brits. We don't want to have to be caught up in all that and taking care of elderly people and babies, and we don't want to do any of that. Put it up, Dan. That's right. You can see it, 38%. So government expenditure as percentage of GDP in the United States is 38%. In other words, take 10% and we're at the UK number. So what does all this tell us? This tells us that, in theory, if we spent more money and did it right, maybe even 10% more, we could actually take care of making sure that families with children and babies or young babies or women who are pregnant don't actually die at a rate that's 40 to 50% higher than the United Kingdom. Now, I'm picking on the UK. I'm not looking at France or Germany. I'm doing that very deliberately because the United Kingdom has a lower rate of spending per GDP and a tax rate as a percentage of GDP than either of those other two countries. Yet, their results on taking care of people in those countries is vastly improved. And I've done whole shows on this. You can go and look for it online. But anyway, I just wanted to say to the Wall Street Journal, if you really care about taking care of young babies and you're pro-life, and I'm sure they all are, then I'm making an assumption, but I think it's a safe bet that the Wall Street Journal would like to see Roe v. Wade overturned. I'm just making it as an assumption based on the fact that it's the Wall Street Journal. The fact remains that if we took care of our families, even the way the UK does, which, by the way, isn't that great compared to France or Germany, we would see a massive increase in life expectancy and a failure and a much lower mortality rate than we see today. And I would have thought a 10 or 20% tax burden increase across the entire United States, meaning charging higher rates on corporation tax, higher rates for very well-off people just to start there. I would have thought that would be a good place to start. And not just freak out, as the Wall Street Journal called it. Hey, Dan, put it up again. That these programs are explicitly designed to make the middle class dependent on government handouts. What a despicable thing to say. I mean, seriously, a despicable, cynical thing to say. All right. Thank you for listening. If you are listening to us online, please write to us. It's there on screen, jonathan@langley.media. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends about us. We'll be back. God bless, and we'll be back. Sorry, Dan, thank you. If you have any ideas, write to us and tell us what we should cover. Everything you see here is facts. We don't make this up. We just go and look. What politicians, they might find that rather inconvenient sometimes. Anyway, please write to us. Let us know what we should discuss, and we'll be back very, very soon.